Hi, friends, and welcome back to The Whole Big Mess. My name is Ty. I'm your host for today, and I'm so excited to have Janette Spezio with us today. She is the owner of Sustainable Haus in Summit, New Jersey, and I came and visited you at your store this week. But I think I told you I found you on Instagram, but that was a lie because I remembered where I found you.
Okay.
And I actually was Googling women-owned businesses in New Jersey.
Wow.
Yeah. And you came straight up. I think you were like at the very top of the list. There was an article that NJ.com had done about the store. And that's how I found you. And then I went and followed you on Instagram. So
That is fabulous.
yeah.
And I'm not real great with technology, and so I don't really focus on search engine optimization or those kinds of things. And I
Okay.
know they're important, but it's not really my thing. So the fact that I came up in the top of a search is
Yes, you did.
nearly amazing and very exciting.
Yeah. So I think that I went to your store this week and I purchased a number of products, and there were some that like I was kind of skeptical on, but I definitely was like, okay, I'm never going back. This is it. I'm sold. So I personally do not live a sustainable life, but it is something that has been important to me that I've wanted to implement. Because I do see like the effects that it is having on our planet and on our weather and all the things. And so I feel like it's a personal responsibility to just do what I can for what I can. So can you tell us a little bit about, first of all, where you came from, your background, and what gave you the drive for sustainability?
Sure. So I'm a first generation American. My parents are both from Germany, and they came here when they were 30, so we had no money. And we just lived a very sustainable lifestyle, and probably just out of necessity. And also based on background, my mother grew up on a farm.
Okay.
And because we had no money, we just learned that you could make or do anything you needed, right?
Okay.
You didn't have to go buy a lot of stuff. So she worked in a health food store. We had an organic garden. We did a lot of canning. We sewed.
Okay.
She's a master seamstress, and that was always part of her profession. She went to school for that. And so I think I lived a very sustainable lifestyle growing up, and I valued natural fibers. I can't tell you why. I just know that I loved the feel and the look of cotton and wool and silk and linen and wood. And if I was looking at two pieces of furniture, two tables,
Okay.
and one was, a bright yellow plastic and the other was a natural wood,
You were always going to go for the wood.
I gravitated to wood.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you why. It just the way it was. And so I was in corporate for 30 years, and I always lived sustainably, but not like to an extreme.
Right. Well, I think when you're in corporate, right, life is busy, right?
Yeah.
And it's the rat race, it's the go. And you had a prestigious position. So I'm sure like that took a lot out of you.
It did, but I was the person that, despite all that, had an organic garden. I made all the kids' Halloween costumes.
Really?
I made the textiles in the house, the
You
curtains.
managed to find all the time to do that.
You get
it's just part of you.
When you get good at certain things,
Right.
like sewing, cooking, gardening, you just
do it.
You just do it. And I think part of being a first generation American, which is one of the things I always lead with, I find that grouping of people just tends to be hardworking.
A little bit more resilient.
And I think it's out of necessity.
Yes.
But it becomes part of your DNA. So I'm just somebody who works a lot. And I don't know that I would say I love to work a lot. I'm just used to it.
Right.
So I would go to work in corporate, and on Sunday night, I would make myself 5 salads for the week, actually usually 4. And
You had a cheat day.
right. Well, just in case I didn't eat them all, I wanted to have, just a little bit of wiggle room. So I'd make 4 organic salads, and I'd put them in reused plastic containers from our Chinese food.
Okay.
Of course, today I would never put food in a plastic container.
In a plastic container. I can't wait. I can't wait till she tells you guys about plastic. Holy.
But I would, I'd pick the lettuce if it was in the summertime or springtime, and we always ate organically and like certified organic food, and I lived a pretty sustainable life despite being a busy corporate executive person. And then I got downsized, which was just, the best thing that could have happened to me, because right, with kids and a family, you work so hard that I was never the one who was going to work till I was 75 in corporate. That was never happening. Like 55, I was done.
Right.
And it happened earlier, which was great.
Yeah, there's the silver lining, right? Like sometimes I think that these things happen to us in life, and we take them harder than we really should, because we don't know what it looks like around the corner. You know what I mean?
I didn't take it hard.
You were welcome.
Well, I knew when I went to work that day, I knew there was a 50-50 chance that I might come home without a job. And I had warned my girls, they were high school age, and I was divorced, and I didn't want them to be traumatized and surprised. So I had said to them the day before, I said, we have big stuff happening at work tomorrow, and there's a chance that I won't have a job when this is done. And they were like, oh. And I said, but don't worry, it's going to be fine. I'm fine with whatever happens. And I talked to my youngest daughter during the day, and I had said to her, she's like, well, how are you? I said, I'm fine, because I was fine.
Right.
I said, but I'm having lunch in town at home with my girlfriend. So, like in other words, I've left the office. I don't have a job, but perhaps I might not have been explicit enough. So they came home and they're like, oh, it's so good you still have your job. And I was like, I don't have my job.
I'm in town having lunch in the middle of the day.
Exactly. Like that never happens. But I am fine. I'm fine. We're fine. I'm happy. I'm excited. When you're somewhere for that long, you can't walk away. You're sort of
pushed out the door, or
you're tied financially, because they have incentives for you to stay.
Right.
So you can't just walk away. But if they decide they don't want you anymore,
it's easy.
They pay out a little more, and it's good, and there's no decision. So it was the decision I didn't have to make, and it was fantastic.
Awesome.
So I always lived pretty sustainably, and I cared about everything from the cleaning products I used to the clothing we wore. But I didn't, not to the extreme that I take it today.
Okay.
And let me just start by saying I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to be perfect. Maybe I am. I'm trying to be better and better. But I acknowledge that we live in a world that is so far from perfect. So I am pretty anti-plastic, but I have a cell phone. I drive a car. I use a computer. I wear glasses.
It's real life.
I mean, there's just...
You're not going to get out of it.
There's plastic everywhere. I go to the doctor, right? When I get dental work done, I want him to use sterilized equipment. So plastic is a reality for now. And so I wanted to be more extreme, and I started by wanting to know what was in my laundry detergent. It had been bothering me for a long time.
Laundry detergent. I can't wait to tell you guys this. Go ahead.
I wanted something truly green.
Right.
And, I bought the ones that all said they were green, and I bought them at places like Whole Foods, a store that is pretty, trustworthy in terms of its ingredients. And I tried to decipher all the plant-derived long list of ingredients, and I couldn't understand them. And I just thought, how is it that hard? Like, our ancestors didn't have to have a chemistry degree to do their laundry. So I gave up trying to identify them. Since then, I've learned about the Environmental Working Group, EWG, environmentalworkinggroup.org, and you can look up what's in
all these chemicals.
all of our products,
Oh, wow.
and how dangerous or safe all these different ingredients or chemicals are. So back then I didn't know about that, and I just decided it can't be that hard. I'm going to make my own. So I learned how to make soap, and I just thought, if I'm going to do this, whatever this is, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Right.
So rather than start with coconut oil for soap, I started with certified organic coconut oil. I just thought that's a farmer or a producer that cares more about the environment.
Right.
So we're going to go with the organic. And I learned how to make soap, and then I learned how to make detergent, and it really wasn't that hard. And I thought, well, if I want to do better, there must be other people who want better. And I started to just really focus on everything in my house. So we had been at this point pretty much wearing used, vintage, thrifted clothing for some time.
Right.
And that's a whole nother aspect of climate and the environment. And
my daughter and I, we love thrifting. We love thrifting.
But there's huge reasons behind it. So to make one new cotton t-shirt, over 600 gallons of water to produce the cotton for that t-shirt.
No way.
Yes way.
600 gallons.
600 gallons. And then don't forget there's the manufacturing, the dyeing, getting it from wherever it was produced all the way to a store nearby, to your house. And generally the laborers in that process are pretty poorly treated, whether it's the women sewing those clothes or the farmers. And especially around clothing and cottons, there's a lot of pesticides, which are really dangerous. So it's really a dirty, dirty process. And so this whole fast fashion issue was one. So we were thrifting, my daughter and I were thrifting, and we found this wraparound skirt, looked like it was from India. It was really pretty, but not right for either of us. But it was the fabric was just so pretty.
Right.
And I've been a seamstress, as somebody who sews all my life. So we bought the skirt, brought it home, and the following day I was sitting on my kitchen floor and I had cut it into napkins. My daughter was horrified. We still use those napkins today, and that was like 6 years ago.
Right.
And they're still part of our everyday napkins. And so I thought, the idea of using used textiles to make something new, something useful, and now I don't have to buy napkins.
Right.
Because these aren't the fancy napkins we might use at, Thanksgiving. Rather, these are everyday napkins.
Right.
And we don't have to buy napkins, so we can save some money over time. We don't have to destroy trees or anything like that. Or even if it's recycled paper, there's no process involved because we're not buying it. All napkins are packaged in plastic, so we're not getting any plastic.
Right.
So it was just it was sort of all good, and they got washed with the rest of our clothes. So we didn't do extra laundry to wash our napkins. And so I just thought, I'm going to just make more things. So I made laundry detergent, sponges, reusable wipes, something for the Swiffer to Swiffer the floors, and I just thought I need to be at a farmer's market selling cleaning products and home goods, and one step after another, and there it was.
So I went to her store on Thursday, was it? I believe it was Thursday. And I was just poking around, looking at all the things, because my goal in life is to be a lot more sustainable, to do as much as I possibly can. And I went for the laundry detergent, because if you guys are on my personal page, you saw the amounts of laundry I had to do this week. So I did not believe what she told me. Like, half a tablespoon of this powder is going to clean a load of laundry. Did not believe it by any means. I bought this little bag. I mean, it must be like that wide, that tall, little bag. And I did about 10 loads of laundry this weekend, and she wasn't lying. Like, literally, I used a tablespoon because that's just me. because I have to go. I have to make sure. I got to make
I
sure.
did say half a tablespoon. I believe I wrote it on the bag.
You did.
Yep.
It's written on there. But I always have to go a little extra.
Yeah.
And so but even a tablespoon compared to a cup
Right.
is incredible.
Yeah.
You know, and my son had a ketchup stain on his sweatpants for 2 weeks. How difficult. I didn't think I was going to get that ketchup out, to tell you the
Did it
truth.
come
I
out?
thought it was going to stay a little bit. Ketchup was gone. It was gone.
So I had been, I was on the board of the Greater Newark Conservancy, environmental social justice organization. And I was at a board meeting and somebody spilled a box of Dunkin' Donuts coffee down the side of a light colored gray winter jacket.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then I realized that the cuffs were really dirty because it was the winter and I was moving some wood to the fireplace and it's really dirty. And I did soak it for about 20 minutes in a little bit of laundry detergent, and then I just threw it in the wash.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get home with this coffee stain for a couple hours.
Okay.
And it wasn't just like a drip of coffee. I mean, it was like we had to mop the floor up. It was straight down my jacket sleeves and all over the floor. And it came clean.
It came
And
out.
so I think that, we're so marketed to,
Mm-hmm.
we are so conditioned to the idea that we need chemicals to be effective.
Right.
And those same chemicals are just killing our environment.
Yeah.
And we share the same home. We live on this planet Earth.
Right.
And we both impact the planet, and it's the only home we have.
Yeah.
And when it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
So before we get to that point, we have to start being more mindful and sustainable. And for us, it's a combination of things. So for me, it started with ingredients, right? Being non-toxic.
Right.
And then I started to think more about impact, carbon footprint, and all of that.
Right.
But I quickly started to research about plastics and ingredients, and I learned about the whole zero waste movement, and it just resonated. Like,
Right.
like why do we need plastic? Why do we need packaging? And why do we need all those chemicals? And we just don't know how to do it, because I would say a big part in this country happened post World War II. And the government was really concerned about jobs.
Okay.
And so there's a whole series of videos on YouTube called The Story of Stuff.
Okay.
And those same people put out a movie recently called The Story of Plastic.
Okay.
And The Story of Stuff tells you that after the war, the government wanted more obsolescence. They wanted things to have an end of life. They wanted things to not be forever.
Okay.
Because they wanted to keep creating
People
jobs
working.
and get
Right.
people working, right?
Mhm.
And so then I think we had all these really smart marketing people that started to tell us things like, your paper towel needs to be really absorbent, and you need chemicals to get your laundry clean and bright and white, and you need chemicals to keep your lawn as green as it can possibly look. And
it's not all true.
well, we don't. The problem is there's no. There's a few problems. There's no regulation around most of this stuff.
Okay.
So, shifting around a bit, in terms of personal care products, there are about a dozen of chemicals banned from personal care in the US. It's not a lot. Hasn't changed in decades. In places like Europe and Canada, they ban 1,300 chemicals.
That's a big difference.
Right. And
That's a huge difference.
it's huge. And companies manufacture differently for the two markets. Right? So
Right.
they produce one product for Europe, and then they produce another one for here.
Right.
And we accept that these things are okay, and we accept that there's no disclosure requirements.
Right.
So, then you get smart marketing people that tell us how great these chemicals are,
Right.
and how great these plastics are, and it's a problem.
Tell them what you were telling me in the store the other day about how much plastic we're actually consuming.
Oh,
Like not just like
Yeah.
exposed to, like
Yeah.
actually consuming in our bodies.
Yeah. So I'm just going to take 2 steps back and just say, so in terms of the store and our mission, we're 100% mission driven. That's all we care about. Is really the environment, which is not just the environment, but healthy homes, healthy people, healthy planet. All
Right.
those 3 are tightly linked. And so besides being, low toxin, because it's hard to be perfect, we're also plastic free, package free, and the least impact. In the US, I'll give you a couple of facts. We all produce between 4.5 and 5.5 pounds of trash every day per person.
Per person.
So if you have a household of 4 people, that's going to be 18 pounds a day, give or take.
Of trash.
And a lot of that trash is going to be plastic. And we also produce a lot of plastic. And less than 9% of plastics are recycled. So, and all plastic ever produced since the dawn of time, which is around the turn of the century, is still here and is never going away at this rate.
Wow.
It's not going to biodegrade into a natural substance. It is not going to compost. It is not going to go anywhere except what's been burned. So we've burned a lot of it. It pollutes our atmosphere, but plastic is here forever. So what's happening is plastic is getting into our land, water, and air. There is plastic in rain. There is plastic in placenta linings. And we consume, as Americans, as the average person, a credit card worth of plastic every week. And
is that crazy?
Every week.
A credit card worth of plastic every week we're consuming into our bodies. That's crazy.
And it's unregulated. The chemical. So what is plastic? Plastic is a petroleum-based product. It is full of chemicals so that plastic can be clear, colorful, rigid, pliable, blah, 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 all those things we like it to do. So we are eating undisclosed chemicals that are having impacts on our hormonal health, endocrine health, reproductive health. This has to do with sperm count and ability to get pregnant and carry to term.
Right.
There can be carcinogens. I mean, you name it.
Right.
So, and in the course of a year, if you had 2 jugs of milk, 2 gallons of milk, those 2 containers are about the amount of plastic you eat in a year.
That's crazy.
And it's micro and nanoplastics in things like our water. That's
crazy.
You can see, if you take a microscope, you can see it in cheeses, in fish. They're opening fish bellies. They're full of plastic.
Wow.
So there's plastic in everything. We can't get away from it. We can just try to reduce it.
Do our part.
And so the biggest saying among all the zero waste, people is, if your bathtub is overflowing, you don't start mopping. You turn off the tap. You turn the water off.
Right.
Then you start to worry about mopping up. So we're worried about cleaning up this plastic problem. We need to be worried about
eliminating.
I don't want to say
as
stop,
much,
but really reducing the single use.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So show us some of the things that you brought us here today.
I brought a sampling because I was at the farmer's market today. So I brought mostly stuff that I make, with the exception of this. This is one of my favorite vegetable bags. So you heard me talk a lot in the store about not eating from plastic and not storing your food in plastic, not buying food in plastic. It's really hard to do, especially when you know that things like milk cartons are lined in plastic. And
I didn't know. Yeah. I thought that my almond milk was just a cardboard.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's lined in plastic.
Because plastic allows it to be, not to permeate the paper.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. Makes sense.
And years ago, it was probably lined in like a wax.
Right.
And then that became probably more of a petroleum, and then all of a sudden it's plastic. So this is a vegetable crisper bag, and it will, it gets wet and wrung out, and you can put your veggies in here. It's pretty big, actually. And it will keep them crisp for up to 2 weeks without any plastic. So
That's
this
awesome.
this has been 2
2 weeks
summer
is a long
bestseller.
time.
Yeah.
I need something like that because Obviously, my veggies are not getting eaten as fast as they should.
Well, we don't go shopping every day.
Yeah.
Right? This is not Europe where we just wander
Go to the
down to
market,
the local market
right,
every day. So you need them to keep for a while.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
This is a to-go silverware
I
set.
love this. This I want to do. I love this. I love this.
Open it. It's a bag.
I saw this on your Instagram page.
It's pretty.
I thought this was fabulous.
It's so basic.
Great idea.
So we're about used, right? So this is thrifted utensils, and it allows you to have a set that you don't mess up your kitchen set. You have the stuff you still use for dinner. A napkin, and these are again all secondhand fabrics. It's a 15-inch square napkin, and I try to do colors so that they're not going to show stains too badly.
Okay.
And then it all goes into a little bag. It's a little wrinkled, and it can just stay in here.
How cute is this?
And you just tie it shut, and you keep it in your handbag, diaper bag, glove box, you name it.
I mean, how cute is that? I love that.
A lot of people keep it in their office, right?
Yeah.
Like in your desk drawer, and you always have silverware.
Yeah.
And
you bring it home, you wash it, big deal.
we go through billions of plastic utensils in the US. And you know how those restaurants, when you do takeout, they just toss it in there, and sometimes it's even wrapped in a plastic bag.
Yeah.
And you don't even have a choice, and you get it, and there's no meaningfully good way to recycle those.
Right.
So that really helps to
I love that.
reduce.
That is one of the, and I saw it on your Instagram page. I loved it, but I missed it when we were in the store together. But that is definitely something I want.
We have a lot of stuff in the store.
Yeah, you do. I love the store. Oh.
One of the first products we did were everyday napkins. And one of the things
Look how nice these napkins are.
One of the things that we do is there's 6 different patterns.
I love
And
them.
the reason for that is when my daughters started using those napkins made from that Indian skirt, they said, I don't want to touch my sister's dirty napkin. And they're every day, so we don't wash them every time, right? We have a few meals a day or whatever, and after a couple of meals, if they're dirty, they get washed. If they're dirty the first time, they get washed. But if it's still clean enough, it sits there. So this way I said, fine, everybody will have an assigned napkin. So that'll be yours, this will be mine, and nobody has to worry. So they became mix and match sets.
I think, that's just a novel idea to me, because it's just like, you wipe your face, you throw it in the trash. You know what I mean? Like, I would never think of reusing my napkin all day long. Never.
Well, think about this. With a paper napkin, how often did you have a paper napkin at your place, never used it,
and threw it out anyway?
It might have even gone in your lap, but you didn't actually wipe with it.
Yeah.
And then it got thrown away.
It still got thrown out anyway. Yeah, you're right.
And that's just a huge resource. Like, I don't remember the exact statistics, so you can't quote me on this, but the way that Americans live, we would need like either 5 or 9 planets to support our consumption.
I believe that.
And that's a problem,
believe that.
Right? So, and it's not, there's been a bunch of pictures on Instagram. It's not that there are developed and developing countries. It's that much of the northern hemisphere is just devastating the
entire planet.
The less wealthy countries. Yeah. They're mining all their resources and taking them, leaving them devastated, and then we have this level of consumption that we can't support.
Right.
And I think that if we all jumped ahead 10, 20, 30 years, right, and we could see what was happening with climate, and we could see what was happening with consumption, I think everybody would say, yeah, I don't mind using less. I don't mind making changes.
Yeah.
But I think most people don't yet see
the impact,
their lives in that future world that is going to be so disrupted.
Right.
And unpleasant.
Right. Right.
But it's really not that hard to make some changes.
It's really not. I'm looking at the things that you brought and the things that I took the other day, and it's really, these are little things that we can implement little by little.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we start everything, right?
Yeah.
It's just little by little.
We talk a lot about like one step at a time,
right? Because
I'm a climate reality leader, and I'm on the Westfield Green team. So I'm really immersed in this stuff, and it's all I see on my Instagram feed. And it can be really overwhelming. It can be, hard to breathe when you really think about it. But I just work really hard because I want to make change. I want to teach people locally that it is our responsibility to make changes. It is our responsibility to our kids, our neighbors, our future, the future of this planet. So if we can help people make easier shifts, then that's great. And that's what we want to do.
Agreed.
And then I think as we all start to learn and get more focused around it, we'll get more regulation. We'll have more pressure on corporations to do better. There isn't a reason for a lot of the way things are. We could so easily make changes if we were willing.
It's just convenience, and convenience is costing us a lot.
Yeah.
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 What else do you have in here?
So these are wipes and a sponge. Just, easy ways to clean up and wipe up. You just don't need paper towel. I haven't bought paper towel in literally 4 years.
Really?
And even when the pandemic started and I thought I might need them at the farmers markets, I borrowed a roll from a friend, never used them, and returned them. So I just don't.
You don't need them.
You don't need them.
Right.
This is another form of wipe, and it was just sort of.
I used that the other day.
It was nice for the season, and it's kind of.
I used it the other day. It was good. I definitely wrung it out. I wiped down my counters. I wrung it out. I wiped down, whatever else. Wrung it out, and it's still pretty and white.
And it's wood pulp and cotton. And what you'll find is at the 6-month mark-ish, around that time, it starts to gray a little bit and just looks a little dingy. It'll still work. You can still clean all you want. Just won't be as pretty.
Right.
So that's another
It's
thing.
really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
We do reusable cotton rounds for makeup removal. These are one of our favorites. They hold the sides of a pot handle holders.
Look at that.
And all used fabrics, cotton thread, fully compostable, and just.
I always use the whole freaking mitten, but you don't need it.
For
Sometimes,
for your big Thanksgiving, turkey
so
casserole
cute.
thing.
I love those.
And the thing that really, so we opened the store. So I've been doing this for about 5 years at farmers markets. We opened the store February of last year, 2020, right into the pandemic.
Right.
And we started making masks. So we did a lot of, I had a lot of used fabric at the time, right? So I started making masks before the CDC recommended wearing them. And, can you sell masks in a pandemic? Yeah. Pretty much. So it really funded our ability to become that full service, zero waste refill store. We would have always been that, but it probably sped it up a little bit.
Now tell people what you mean by refill store.
Yeah. So like your laundry detergent, we have, just for clarity, 7 different laundry detergents in the store. And you can come fill up shampoo, conditioner, body lotion, sunscreen, hand soap, dishwashing detergent, counter cleaner, oxygen brightener.
Why do we want a refill?
Yeah, well, so knowing that less than 9% of plastics are recycled and reused, and that they are just really a pollutant, right? I think what we're going to see, the way we looked at cigarettes in the 70s is going to be how we look at plastics in the near future.
Yeah.
And so to avoid all those containers, you can come in and just bring your old container, clean and dry, and fill it up.
Right.
For everything from, face wash to toothpaste tablets, and
literally everything, anything you could
not food
need for your body. Yeah.
Yep. And it's just those are just nice alternatives to have. And we know that when we go to the dentist, there's going to be some plastic, right? And when you go to buy food, I do mostly farms. I don't eat a lot of processed food. So our food is pretty clean, but not perfect. There's a few things from Trader Joe's. There's a couple things
those
we like.
Little guilty pleasures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, we're not perfect, right? I don't want people to think I'm perfect, because aiming for perfection will overwhelm you.
Yes.
So, because those are things that are really hard to change, and you can start, but the reason we talked about milk was because it took me 5 years to clean up my milk, because I drink almond milk, and it just took that long.
Right.
So these are things you can do pretty easily. You come in, you don't have to come in that often. You come in once a quarter.
Yeah.
Bring all your containers, be
Yeah.
organized. You can look up on the website all the different products we have, how much they cost. Bring in containers. If you don't have them, we can sell you containers. We can give you some used containers, and you fill up. And
Yeah.
it's sort of like instead of going to that big box store on a periodic basis, you just come in and shop local. Circular economy, woman-owned business. I mean, it's just, the idea that I thrift and get all these fabrics locally and repurpose them locally here for our own use is pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. I am so glad that I have found you and that you're going to help me with this new way of life.
Yay.
Because it really is so important. And if we were just, and this is why I wanted to have you as a guest on The Whole Big Mess, because the more we're educating people, some people are going to think, you're OD on this. I can't, it's really not that important.
Yeah.
But then, there's a large community of people that this is important to, and they just don't know how to start.
I will also say that a little anecdote. My mother had a good friend over, and my mother had been out to a friend's house for dinner, and they had, one of those subscription services, and the woman cooked, but all out of these little plastic containers, and my mother was just, horrified. So one of her best friends says to her, "Oh, you're just listening to Janette too much."
Right.
And my mother was telling me this, and I said, but Mom, you were that person a few years ago. And she was like, "No, I wasn't." And I was like, I pushed you to reconsider how you buy your vegetables and your strawberries. And maybe you don't really need the strawberries if you can't get them locally at the farm. Maybe off season you don't need that plastic container every week, you know? And she had a hard time remembering that was the case, but I was that person. I bought the strawberries in the plastic container. And so I think you have to hear it 10 times.
Right.
They say that you can't say you don't like a vegetable till you've tried it 10 times. I don't think that change happens without absorbing it a good number of times.
And
I can tell you all my life, not all my life, but most of my adult life, I have known not to microwave plastic. Have I ever microwaved plastic after knowing that? I have.
Right.
But you just think, well, it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Right.
Just this one time.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of reasons why we as humans don't shift from A to Z overnight, but we don't. And so I think people have to hear it here.
Yes.
They have to see it in their Instagram feed.
Yes.
They have to have somebody they're close with explain to them what they're doing. I think the buddy system is key. I read a whole book. Beth Terry wrote a book called My Plastic-Free Life. And the first few chapters talk about the dangers of plastic.
Right.
And that was the first thing I started public speaking on, just the dangers of plastic versus the whole zero waste concept.
Right.
But it's all tied together. It's all part of sustainability. And
I think people, and a lot of people, they just don't know.
They don't know.
They really just don't know.
Yeah. And I think even if they know a bit of it,
Right.
they don't know the whole of it, and they don't know that it's how dangerous, or they don't remember. So I just think it's probably my biggest uphill challenge, right? So at first I thought, and you'll laugh, but I thought, Field of Dreams, right? If you build it, they will come.
Right.
I'm at farmers markets. I'm opening a store.
Right.
We're going to talk about what we do. I have a client base. They're going to tell all their friends. Everybody's going to come refill.
Right.
They don't.
Right.
So, I've learned that it's a lot harder than that. So I've had to work really hard on the marketing side of it. Not something I thought I was going to have to do. And the teaching side and the speaking side, so that we start to really push the message. And I think like I was saying, how cigarettes were in the 70s,
Right.
plastics are going to be in the future, and it's going to be, we're going to look back in some number of years and be horrified by how much plastic we have.
Yeah. Well, I think that we're making progress.
We are.
In New York, right? The plastic bags are banned
Yeah.
now, and I think we're going to be seeing that a lot more.
New Jersey passed it. I just don't know the time.
I don't know when.
I'm not
when
sure
it
the
actually
timing. I
goes
should know
into
this.
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was this coming year, but it might be
Yeah.
one more. But either way, I think what we're starting to see though is places are being more restrictive or doing it sooner, right? So one of the markets I do is the Summit Farmers Market on Sundays, and we've been plastic bag free, and I'll clarify what that means, for 2 years now.
Okay.
This is our third season of being plastic bag free.
Okay.
Now, what does that mean? That means shopping bags. You can't give out a plastic shopping bag.
Okay.
I think except for fish. But the produce bags are still there. You can still grab all the produce bags you need for your beans and your corn.
Right.
There's no reason to take them, but people
Right.
do. So we're getting there.
Because you don't even leave your produce in the bag when you take it home. I don't, because it gets all slimy and whatnot. I don't even keep the bag, honestly.
I think sometimes people do, and it does. I mean, the problem with plastic is it works well,
Yeah.
right? It'll keep certain things crisp. It'll,
Right.
It's functional,
Yeah.
and some people think it might even be pretty in terms of it being clear and
Right.
colorful and
Right.
yeah.
Right. So if they wanted to find you, how can they find you? On social media, or where's your store? All the
Sure.
things about you.
Okay, so we love when people follow us on social media, in particular Instagram. That's the sort of our main place.
Okay.
And I try to make sure that it's not all product. So you'll see a mix of informational, like infographics and like reels that are making a point to teach about all kinds of these things and so
Right.
much more. And then part of it is fun and part of it is product.
She's very fun. She is so fun on her reels. I am really jealous of her reels. I have not gotten on reels yet, but she is a reels killer.
So I'm not sure about that, but I will say that we did dive in. We did learn that it makes a difference on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so this is the marketing part, right? If you build it, they will come. So
Yeah.
I realized that by having more engaged followers who actually comment on our posts,
Yeah.
that makes a huge difference. It gets seen by more people. If we have more followers that engage, we get seen by even more people. So we just learned that you have to do reels. And the advice that we were given is do one a day for a month and then do some tweaking.
Yeah.
I didn't do one a day. My aim was 3 a week. Sometimes we did 4. These days I'm a little heavier on the reels, because they help you get more followers a little bit more. So we do a lot of that. So Instagram.
Well, people like seeing you, and I think that's what we
That's
have
a
to
part of it.
understand.
Yeah. So Sustainable Haus, it's spelled Haus, the German way.
Yeah.
Sustainable Haus on Instagram. We just started TikTok, and that's been fun. So my daughter was an Ithaca College graduate for TV production, and she's out in LA, and she's been very helpful.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm the one here with
Managing
my face,
all of this.
my products, my
Right.
business. So I am doing most
All
of
of
the
it.
social media.
Yeah, all of it.
But it does help, and also if people share with friends, all those things are helpful. So so Instagram, TikTok, we have a website, of course, because you have to. I would say we have about 400 items on the website.
Oh, wow, that many.
Yeah, we have a lot, but it's hard to count just hard to count for sure, but we have a lot of things. And we have a number of things that aren't on the website at all, just in the store.
Yeah.
But we try to have a good amount on the website. And we ship. We try to use predominantly used packaging. We use mostly, natural materials like boxes, and the tape that we use is a paper tape versus a plastic tape, and we have.
I noticed that on your labels.
Yeah,
Yes,
and our
I did.
labels, labels on our packages are recyclable,
Yeah.
and like all those things matter. So
Yep.
we try to do as the best we can. But some of our things are heavy, and we do charge for shipping. We are not Amazon, and part of that is, and this is from a business perspective, this is the hardest thing, right? You have to make sure that I want to make sure that the people that find me locally get the best deal. We want zero waste to be affordable. We're looking to do actually a zero waste home kit for underserved families, or in local communities, because we want to teach people that cleaning, right, with green, good ingredients is not that hard or expensive. Anyway, as we're doing all these things, I want to make sure that we are a good value to our local customers, the ones that see us in the market, the ones that come in the store, and the same prices on the website. It's all one set of prices, and you have to charge for shipping. Shipping can't be free, or else you have to raise the prices of your products.
Right.
And we don't want to do that. And so we definitely have products that are less expensive than others around us, but we want people to feel like, okay, it's already inconvenient enough to bring your containers in. We're trying to make the rest of the experience as easy as possible.
Well, I love it. I'm so glad to have found you.
I'm glad to have found you.
I will definitely be in that store. It would be, it's definitely going to become part of my everyday life. I'm really excited about that.
So you said your daughter was also really
yes, and
interested.
So
what made her interested?
Because she's just an advocate for all the good things. She's just a born advocate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got a Sustainable Haus tote bag the other day, and I told you she was going to steal it from me. As soon as I walked in the house, she was like, "That bag's mine." I was like, "Yes, I know. I already told Janette that." So, but thank you so much, Janette. It's been a pleasure to have you. I can't wait to have you again. And we were talking like maybe collaborating in the future, where we have a swag bag that collaborates the Whole Big Mess and Sustainable Haus, and we really want to get this message out to everybody, because it's a really important message.
So I would just tell all of your listeners, as you're starting to make a change, right, one step at a time, and bring a friend along.
Awesome.
Friend, daughter, sibling, sister.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Janette. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for tuning in. We love you. See you guys later.
Today's episode was recorded at the beautiful Stateside Tavern located in Somerset, New Jersey. To visit or to book your event, visit stateside-tavern.com.